Alrighty, what's up everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Monday, December the 29th. What's up everyone? Can you guys hear me and see my screen? What's up everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying the holiday so far, of course. Good morning, James, Victor, Robert, B Roots, Cody, Detecto, Martin, Deuce, KO, PA, Cinna, Eileen, what's up Daniel, Lament, Vegas, Robert, what's up everyone? Good morning. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. What's up everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're just going to be going over, of course, the daily pre-market game plan coming into today, and of course what we're looking for coming into this week. Overall markets fairly slow last week. We ended up having a nice kind of rally towards our all-time highs. With this kind of low volume push, specifically on the SPY. QQQ really lagging behind along with the rest of the tech names, so really not too much on the tech side. But for the SPY, really solid push if you trade that. And of course, if you trade any precious metals like gold and silver, those have been having super solid moves. Silver in specific, that one ended up having a really nice push into end of year. Did pull back this morning, but we'll kind of talk about that potentially later on as well. Good morning. Yes. Okay. So let's go on to exactly what we're looking for. Before I do that, I'm going to grab some water here. If you guys do enjoy these, of course, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one is in the description below. As for some things, oops, seems like my stream might be freezing here. Oh, no, we're back on. But yeah, as for some housekeeping items, I'm still away from home, still on my travel setup. I also posted a YouTube video yesterday as well on the first pullback rule. So if you guys haven't watched that, that one's a super good one. And then we also have a course coming out tomorrow, which is on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's super exciting. We've been working on that one for a while. So we have a course coming out. It should be Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Super excited for you guys to watch that. And yeah, let's get on to exactly what we're looking for coming into this week and today, of course. So let's first start off on the major indices. Let's go on to the futures chart. Let's go on to the ES. So as you can see, overall markets, we actually hit our all-time highs on the SPY chart. You can see we end up gravitating up and towards our all-time highs key level last week. Whereas the QQQ, we're lagging behind. We haven't quite hit our all-time highs key levels. And we also haven't even broken above our key pivot point from earlier in December. So this is a clear sign of relative weakness, especially on the tech side on the NQ. Whereas the SPY and the rest of the names have really been leading the market higher. So coming into today, or coming into this week here on the ES, let's kind of just go into the lower time frames and what are the levels that I have marked out coming into today. So let's go into the hourly chart. We're currently on this, as you can see right here. The key levels that I have marked out with this little bit of a push down in the pre-market and in the overnight session. My key level here is really just going to be the 69.60. So this is going to be key here for the ES, and then the other levels that I have marked out here as well is going to be that all-time highs. Sorry, not your all-time highs, it's going to be your 69.80s. So if we're looking at potential trading opportunities coming into today, let's keep an eye out on this key level. As I mentioned, it is going to be, let's see this. It is going to be your 69.60. This is the key level coming into market open. I do see some of you guys saying no audio. It should be good. Can I get an audio check? If the audio is not working, you can always refresh the stream and it should be good. Audio, no sound, good. Yeah, if you guys do have any audio issues or if it's lagging, just please refresh the stream and you should be all set. So key levels coming into today here for the ES, as I mentioned, is just going to be the 69.60. So if we want to see some upside here, we need to see a reclaim back above this level for a potential push, really now back up and towards our previous day close. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside here. If we can get underneath now, it's going to be this pre-market low along with this higher time frame key level, which is your 69.60. The levels are a little bit cleaner here on the SPY chart, so I'm going to go onto the SPY just because it's giving us a little bit more of a cleaner picture. So for the SPY chart, the key levels that we have is going to be this previous all-time highs. So let's go onto the daily chart. As you can see right here, we end up having a super nice rally towards the upside last week. You can see touch here. We had another touch earlier in December, and now you can see we finally had that nice break above your all-time highs last week. So now what we like to see moving forward is maintain above your previous all-time highs for upside. So this is going to be the number one scenario, for upside, for a continuation here on the SPY. If you want to see any sort of downside, it's going to be the break back underneath. If we end up breaking back underneath, then we can see a little bit more downside. So the previous all-time highs are the key line in the sand coming into this week and moving forward is simply just going to be this previous all-time highs pivot point, 687.40s, give or take. Let's go into the lower time frames. So as you can see here for the SPY chart coming into today, the key levels I'm just going to have marked out is going to be this previous all-time highs pivot point. If we do want to see some upside, as I mentioned, we like to see either now number one, maintain above our 688 or our previous all-time highs, or another possible long scenario would now be the reclaim back above our previous day lows for this continued push back towards the upside here as well. So really two scenarios here on the SPY for upside coming into today. It's going to be above now this 690 for continuation towards the upside. If we're looking at some downside here on the overall markets, the only way I do like downside is the break underneath and the hold underneath this 688. So higher time frame for me is fairly bullish on the markets, but if we do want to see some more downside right off the bat, we can be looking for the break underneath this 688 for this push down in towards really this 686 and potentially right lower. If we do want to see some downside right off the bat, it is going to occur, as I mentioned, underneath now our previous all-time highs, 688. So this is what we have here on the SPY chart. Now let's go on to the NQ. So for the NQ coming into today, let's go on to the hourly time frame. Really, the NQ is not as clear compared to the ES and the SPY. So coming into today for the NQ, key levels I'm going to have marked out really is this pivot point from last week. You can see a couple touches, broke above it, nice retest towards the upside. Now we're currently underneath that Monday's high. So we're going to be looking for a little bit more weakness here in the markets underneath that 25,780. If we maintain underneath this level now, we can be looking for some more downside underneath your Monday's highs from last week. If you do want to see some upside, it is just going to be that reclaim back above on the higher time frames for that push back higher. If we go onto the QQQ chart, as I mentioned, we can see these levels a little bit more clear. So now let's go on to the 15-minute time frame. So for the QQQ coming into today, you can see a little bit of a gap down here in the pre-market. We're gapping down for the week. Now we're right underneath key levels. So coming into today here for the QQQ, let's mark out this level, 621.50s. If you want to see some upside, we need to see the break above our 621.50s for any sort of pushback up in towards our previous day lows, which is going to be that 623. So it's going to be above your 621.50 if you want to see any sort of upside. For the QQQ, it is a little bit weaker than the SPY, so if we do reject, we could potentially be looking for the pop and fade right off the bat for a push now. It's going to be underneath your pre-market lows, and we can see a potential mean reversion back down in towards really 620 and potentially below. So key level 621.50, let's keep an eye out on that. And then for the SPY chart, the key level, as I mentioned, is going to be this 688 along with this 689.50s. So coming into market open, at least for today, we're just going to keep an eye out on the key levels that I just mentioned. We are having a little bit of a gap down here after SPY recently hit your all-time highs last week. So really the key level for me, as I mentioned, is going to be this previous all-time highs here on SPY. That is the key line in the sand moving forward. Now let's go on to some of the tech names that we have coming into today. I'm going to grab some water here. As I mentioned, tech really, there hasn't been too much the past couple of weeks, specifically on the tech side, just because we've been lagging, Q's inside of a range, whereas really SPY's the one that has been pushing higher. So let's go on to the tech names here now as well. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one is in the description below as well. Alrighty. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. Let's go over some of the tech names first, and then we will head on to some other names as well. We'll of course check out silver, since that one has been very volatile, and that had really solid rally up into end of year. So let's go into the tech names first. So first things first here, let's go on to Tesla. I have a lot of levels drawn out, but really for Tesla, we end up having a really solid rally up and towards our all-time highs. Now it's going to come back essentially for this retest of this 470. So really this is the key line in the sand for us moving forward. If Tesla can maintain, you can potentially see some more continuation higher. If we break underneath, then that's going to be our sign that Tesla can potentially have a pullback. So as I mentioned, key level is going to be this 470. That's going to be key here on this name, especially on the higher time frames. If I go on to the 15-minute chart, you can see a little bit more consolidation, or even the hourly chart, a little bit more consolidation the past few weeks after hitting our all-time highs. Not too much to talk about here, but key level support here is going to be that 670. So coming into today, we can just have this marked out. If we break underneath that 670, we can see some more continuation towards the downside. If we can bounce off this 670, potentially we can see this mean reversion right back up and towards our 476. So these are the key levels that we have marked out coming into today. I would like to see Tesla bounce off this key level of support. So let's go back onto the lower time frames. So the levels that I have marked out coming into today here is going to be that 466 along with our 474. If you do want to see upside, potential bounce off our 466, or now it's going to be the reclaim back above our pre-market highs for a potential continuation up in towards that 474. If you do want to see downside here in the overall markets, now it's going to be the break underneath your 466. That's going to be key here on Tesla. And then now another potential pop and fade is in play. It would be off your previous day lows, which is a little bit farther away. So shorts are in play underneath 466, or a potential pop and fade off of your previous day lows. Longs are going to be a little bit more difficult intraday, but you can be looking for that bounce off your 466. Now let's go on to the next ticker that we have coming into today, which is Nvidia. Nvidia ultimately really nice bounce last week. This was really one of the only tickers that was moving back towards the upside. As you can see, higher time frame level of support. You can see buyers really stepped in off this 168. Now you can see we're reclaiming back above key levels here as well, which is really this 184. Once we broke back above our 184, where you can see we have multiple touches, we end up getting some nice buyers above that 184. Now for this ticker, coming into this week, you can see a little bit of a gap down here. Coming into today, what we like to mark out is going to be this 189 along with our 187. If you want to see some upside here on on Nvidia, bounce off our 187, or it's going to be above our 189 for continuation towards the upside. I personally don't really want to be trading inside of this range. In the middle of the range at least, we can be trading at the top and bottom of the ranges, but in the middle of the ranges, we want to be a little bit more cautious. As for some downside here on Nvidia, the only way I'm interested is going to be either the pop and fade off your 189, or now it's going to be underneath that 187 for continuation towards the downside. So two scenarios for the upside and the downside here on Nvidia. Now let's go on to AMD. I'm going to grab some water here as well. Also answer some questions. What do you think about the Christmas rally? The Christmas rally, we already had the Christmas rally. So we had the SPY all-time highs. We already had that nice rally into end of year on a bunch of names, really besides tech actually. But we end up having a nice push. You can see the VIX was at a 6-month low. So really low volume melt up while there wasn't too much volatility, at least intraday. Let's now go on to the AMD chart. So AMD, as you can see right here, coming into today, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 212 along with our 216. So you can see we're just kind of ranging in between these levels, not too much to talk about. As you can see right here, 212, 217, in between these ranges, you just want to be a little bit more cautious. So not too much to talk about here on AMD. If we want to see some upside or some downside, these are going to be the levels to keep an eye out for. Potential bounce play off our 212 for a push higher, or now it's really going to be above this 216 for continuation towards the upside. If you want to see some downside here, underneath that 212 for continuation lower, that's really the only key level that we have marked out, 213 here on AMD. So this is what we have coming into today on this ticker. Just keep an eye out on your 213. It's going to be that previous day lows. As for a few other tickers that we have here now as well, Apple, if you zoom out on this one, really not too much to talk about. A lot of consolidation. We're in a downtrend here on the hourly time frame, but not too much to talk about. So we'll skip out on this name. As for Google, nice kind of rally towards the upside last week. A little bit more consolidation here now, but for Google, if you do want to see some upside, it is going to be above our 316. That is going to be key, at least on the higher time frames. And then really for the rest of the tickers, there's not too much, right? Meta consolidation, you can see Amazon consolidation here as well. Key levels is going to be that 232 if you want to see some upside. Kind of this nice break. Now we have this consolidation. Let's see if we can continue higher on this ticker. As for Microsoft, similar thesis, a lot of consolidation. So really the only tickers that I can see that have any sort of right underneath their previous day highs or lows, you have Tesla, Nvidia, and you also have AMD. Besides that, the rest of the tech names, there's really not too much. So this is really just a sign to be very cautious here on the overall markets, especially if you are day trading. There's no reason to put on size or to look for momentum. A lot of the names have been developing on the higher time frames and are a little bit of a slower mover. So that's a good time to just be a little bit more cautious. But now let's go on to a few other names that we do have. So if you guys do have any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. And I'll go over those for the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys are enjoying this so far, of course, appreciate if you guys drop a like if you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list. That, of course, is in the description below. Do you ever scalp 0 days? I used to quite often, not as much anymore, since there's been some nice rallies towards your all-time highs. But when the volatility is there and there's no clear direction on the markets, then it's a good time to trade SPY 0 days. If there's a clear direction on the higher time frames, then it's a lot easier to look for right longs and look for right swing positions. You mentioned links in the charts available on Circle. Circle is a platform. It's kind of like Discord. You can access it if you're a part of Traders Edge or Traders Lab. You don't have to really worry about that though. Okay, let's go on to some tickers here. Palantir. So Palantir dropping a little bit after having this nice rally towards the upside. We kind of filled this daily this daily gap here on the higher time frames. Now we're breaking underneath key levels. So for Palantir, a little bit of a pullback here. You can see still very much bullish. Higher lows are being maintained. Now for Palantir, as long as you can maintain above this higher low, we like to see this continue push back higher. So for this ticker, at least not as bullish anymore based off Friday's price action. And we also broke underneath a very key pivot point here as well. So I'm not as bullish here now on Palantir. Key reclaim for me is going to be this 190 for any sort of upside. It's going to have to get above this key pivot point. If you want to see some shorts now, we're kind of right back in towards our previous day close. So I just want to be a little bit more cautious. But for shorts, kind of rejection off this 186. A lot of these names are just trading inside of a range. So if they're trading inside of a range, you just want to be a lot more cautious, right? Not too much to talk about on that. Hood, a little bit more consolidation, kind of dropping here as well. A good thing to note is just look at the daily chart. The daily chart here is going to be key when we're trading originally in a trend. This was very easy and very nice to trade, especially towards the upside. Now you can see the markets are trending and essentially consolidating, a little bit harder to trade because there's a lot less volatility. SoFi, similar thesis, really nice to trade towards the upside. Now we've just been consolidating the past really 60, 90 days, right? Daily chart is a telltale sign on a lot of these tickers, and that's why it's been a little bit more difficult. Something like MU has had a really nice daily chart, so that's why there's been some more opportunities specifically on the semis. Let's go into a few other tickers. Let's go into IWM. Let's go on to silver here in a second. As for IWM, this one recently hit our all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, recently hit our all-time highs. Now we kind of had a little bit of a pullback. The key level I have marked out here on IWM is this 251. So let's go back onto the lower time frames. You can see multiple touches last week, kind of above this 251, right? We tried getting some buyers to step in, ultimately broke back underneath. So for IWM, at least moving forward, the key level is still going to be this 251.50. Potential pop and fade right back down in towards that 249, or now it's going to be that reclaim. We can see that push back up in towards our 252. Let's go into silver. This is the one that a lot of you guys have been trading just because there's a lot of volatility. You can see the daily chart has been very solid, and there's been some nice clear trends towards the upside on this ticker. So that's why there's been nice momentum moves, a lot of volatility, so a lot of opportunity on this name. As for the key levels coming into today, with this gap down, we're kind of gapping down right back in towards our levels here from Friday. So what we like to see here is just mark out our 68.50 along with our 67. If you want to see upside, reclaim back above our 68.50. Another possible scenario, bounce play off your 67 for this pushback towards the upside. As for shorts, you could be looking for this potential kind of pop and fade right off the bat, or if price wants to stay a little bit more heavy, underneath your 67 for this continue push back down in towards our 65. So that's what we have for silver. As for gold, let's go into this one here as well. Gold, another one where you had a really nice solid higher time frame setup. We recently hit our all-time highs. Now we're having a little bit of a pullback here. Similar thing to silver, kind of gapping down here in the pre-market. But key levels now we're just going to have marked out is going to be your previous day lows. We can mark out other levels here now as well, which is just going to be this low from Monday of last week, and we can extend it over. So for gold, key level, higher time frame level of support, 408 that we'd like to see hold. So coming into today, let's kind of go over my game plan and what I'm looking for, and now I'm going to get ready for market open. Really, there hasn't been too much that I've seen the past couple of weeks just because we still have that holiday season. We have New Year's coming up as well, so we're going to have a market holiday once again. No Fed speakers. Volatility is a lot lower here in the market, so really not expecting too much once again this week. Last week I only took actually one trade, which was on Friday for a very small win. There's a couple nice setups on the 5-minute time frame earlier into the week, but not too much, at least momentum trading on the 1-minute time frame. But at least coming into today, similar thesis. We're just going to keep an eye out on your 687 along with our previous day lows. These are going to be the key levels on the SPY. As for the QQQ, the key level for me is going to be the 621. If we reject, we can be looking for the pop and fade right off the bat. Reclaim, we can see this push back up and towards our previous day close. As for everything else, we'll keep an eye out on Tesla, right? It's 466 along with this 474. There's no clear direction, so I am open to playing both sides here. As for Nvidia, similar thesis, reclaim back above your 189 is in play, or the bounce off our 187. And then even in AMD is in play, potential kind of bounce off our 213 for a push towards the upside. And yeah, that's honestly about it. I don't see too much coming into today. Similar kind of thesis this week, just be a little bit more laid back, be more cautious. If you are trading, just be on lighter sides, just because there hasn't been the greatest opportunity, especially day trading wise. So we'll just be a little bit more patient here in the markets, and we'll just wait for things to kind of heat back up. And of course, we'll wait for the volatility to kind of pick back up here as well. So that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. So if you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the holidays. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care